Trip to the 1969 reunion in Minnesota. There's Prudence and Lugg's house in Minnetonka. Tammy and Tim. Wilderness Resort. This is one of the cabins that we stayed in. This was really a trailer camping area, but they had several cabins that we used. Playing jarts. They said it was supposed to be a dangerous game, but we didn't know about it until after we came back. Looks like they're eating something. This is inside. We took care of our own food. This was the lake. It was a real nice lake. Of course, Minnesota has lots of lakes. The swimming place. Were exposed. Looks sort of cool there, the way Mother's dressed up. Looks like we did our eating outdoors. The moon across the lake. Don't know who that is in the foreground. Guess there was a park there. Maybe the beginning of the Mississippi. This was a captive buffalo in the fence there, kind of lethargic. This is the source of the Mississippi. There to the right is where it starts from that lake in the background. Well, this is our picture taking. Us 4 kids. Time with Mother. Helen and Wayne, I don't think any of their kids were here this time. Obergs. Don Graves. Steve's missing. Don't know where we got that other member of the family. It's one of the local cats. There's all the grandchildren that were there. There were several missing that time. Charlie with his knife. And this is the whole crowd. This is our camp after we left the reunion. We're on our way back by way of northern Michigan. It's funny, we had the robin with us, but we didn't take any pictures of the robin on the trip. Lake of the Clouds. This is from somewhere up in northern Michigan. Carp River. A little bird there. Well, that must be Robbie. Yes, that must be Robbie. Lucy's not paying any attention. Lucy got used to him on the trip. Sault Locks, Sault Ste. Marie. A boat from Wilmington, Delaware. Mackinac Bridge across the straits from northern Michigan to southern Michigan. It was taken at night after we had camped. In the evening, I should say. Mackinac Island. Across there, no cars allowed. It's the boat we went across, or one like that, I guess. Winnie and Nunk in the family. The cousins. Several of them. Of course, they're all grown up now. Mary Jane and Bill. Is that Peter or somebody? The village we saw along the road. We've seen villages named after everybody that we have except Eloise. Uncle Walter and Aunt Margaret at their place. Granddaddy's birthday, this was the fall of '69. Back home again. Thanksgiving at the hospital. Another birthday. It says 12 candles, I guess. Christmas of '69. This was in a church. Dinner at Elam. New Elam Church was built just before we went there. This is in front of the church, looking down the road. Another birthday. Must have been 14. Real interesting icicle. This is the porch of the old parsonage at Elam. Lucy learning to bark. She also had to learn how to play. When Royal had her, she didn't do much playing. The winter in 1970. I don't think she was really working that hard. This is a band concert at Garnet Valley. The Forwards, Jim and Gail, along with Sharon. About Naperville. Ellen and Wayne's house, I think it is. Seminary, pictures of the seminary. Judy's date for the senior prom, I don't even remember his name. Memorial Day Parade, 1970. Judy's senior service took the place of the baccalaureate. We don't allow that anymore in schools, I don't think. Judy and a couple of the others playing the guitars. 3 girls and 2 of the fellas singing. Kitzelmans. This is the graduation. Judy was tied for valedictorian with Jim Hall. Marilyn and Sharon sitting with Milt Shepard. Pictures are of our Shenandoah vacation in that's in June of 1970. We were at Shenandoah Park with the Kitzelmans. We had a trailer, I think, and they had a tent. Don't remember exactly. Yep, there's her trailer, Eloise and Alma. I enjoyed these times with the Kitzelmans. There's our campsite. At Jamestown we saw a thing, if you can't read it, it says Captain James Graves was one of the settlers at Jamestown. The Burgesses, it says. These are the ships that sailed across to Jamestown. They're awfully small for sailing across the ocean. Smallest of these boats there in the background is about the size of an extra big rowboat, it seemed like. Old Jamestown. Foundations are still there. They've rebuilt some things. Our campsite. Williamsburg. This is out on the common. Still in Williamsburg. I don't know whether this was a jail or what. I think they ought to bring these things back. Might be better than jail. Concert out in back of the governor's house. These were all the old instruments, the ancient instruments. Well, they're not ancient, but the old ones of 200 or 300 years ago. These old instruments, French horns and other horns, didn't have any valves. The snake. The Kitty Hawk. I don't know whether this was the first plane or just a replica of it. This is where they flew it. Hatteras. I think we were on a little ferry there going across someplace. This was a sunset, I think, somewhere. This is Assateague, where they have all the wild horses. We stopped there. And that's where we camped. A bit of traveling that summer. This is the Lawrences up in New York. That must be their family. I don't know the kids. We're up in Echo Hills, New York. Uncle Art's cabin. Dave and his wife Karen, is it? Were there, as well as Joyce Van Sant was with us. They always have semi-tame chipmunks there that are come right up to you and eat. Grand Gorge or somewhere near there. Picnic, I don't know where it is, but it's the Elam crowd that is there. Well, this October 1970, there's some flowers that I think Nana had at Cootsville. The back of their house on Main Street. This is the front. Garnet Valley Band had a ball game there in Garnet Valley, football. Wolfink Camp, I don't know where we were going. Sunset. Thanksgiving 1970 at Nana's place. This is Granddaddy's retirement celebration put on by the Savings and Loan, I guess, or the Rotary or something. Must have been the Savings and Loan. As we just saw were Marilyn's flowers when she went to the hospital. This is a hen on our back porch, the old parsonage. Every now and then we used to get snowstorms like this. This is the old parsonage at Elam. Christmas altar at the new church, new sanctuary at Elam. On its birthday, Christmas 1970. Christmas 1970. It's the spring of 71, maybe around Easter time. I was out in front of Granddaddy's house on Main Street in Coatesville. Granddaddy with the girls. This looks like it's in front of the house there, and Granddaddy's house. The Easter sanctuary there at Elam. This is Trap Pond with the Kitzelmans. I don't even know where that is now. I don't remember. Lansing, that last one I think must have been at Lansing too. Lansing, Michigan. Nancy and her mother. Katie and Mary Jane, and some of the kids. I guess that's Mary Jane's kids. This is at Uncle Walter's again. Uncle Walter and Aunt Margaret out beside their house. I don't know, I think that's Grandma Hart there. It's Grandma Graves. It's the White Pines reunion up in northern Illinois. This would be in 1971. Sweet Pea. The kids enjoyed playing with Sweet Pea by the character. Mother wasn't doing much talking at this time, although she got along fairly well. Richie and Sherry. This is the whole crowd that was there. I guess it's the whole crowd at White Pines. All of us are there. Quite a few of the kids are missing, of course. They're in college, jobs. The four of us with Mother, the grandchildren that were there. Another picture of some of the grandchildren. The climbers. Way back east now. This is in Ohio, KOA that we camped at. I think it was on the Erie, Lake Erie, which was pretty much polluted at that time. The Thousand Islands, where we camped for several days. We took a trip on the St. Lawrence and saw a few of the Thousand Islands. Called Hart Island, but I don't know which one it is, these ones that we're taking pictures of. So maybe that's it. Guy by the name of Hart built a castle or something out there. That must have been where we camped. Or are we coming back home? We're coming back home again. This is in the Adirondacks. Like Ticonderoga or something. Maybe I should say Fort Ticonderoga. Back at Echo Hills again. Cousin Dave and his wife. Look at those sunflowers. Those are some of our peaches. We must be back home again. Some of our peaches. No, this isn't back home. Where is this? Yeah, this is back home. The old parsonage. A spider and web. At night with the light shining on them. Fall of 1971. This is by the old parsonage in Eagle. Some icicles. Groundbreaking for the new parsonage. Christmas of 71. Christmas dinner at Nan and Granddaddy's. Spring of 72, it looks like we're going somewhere, but I don't know where. Digging the foundation for the new parsonage. Had a garden the first year. This is Easter of 1972. It's in front of Nan and Granddaddy's house. We had a few cats, but not for very long. Baby rabbit that the kids found. Marilyn dressed for her senior recital. Nice and hot bag uniforms. Sharon. Sandy Cove Camp. We're on our way west now through Canada and Michigan to Minnesota and parts west. I think this was a campground in Canada. We left Judy here in Upper Michigan. I think this is Cedar Campus, something like that. Heading west across Michigan. This is the way to camp. There's a hodag, in case you've never heard of them. There's a picture of it. Engine along the road, sort of a museum they saw. Now we're in Minnesota getting ready to go to Richie's wedding. Forget where the town was, but there's Lugs Prudence coming. Ellen, Wayne, and Marley. There's Richie and Sherry. Sherry's twins. The family. Marley and Aaron. We're on our way again. This is Pipestone, the campground, Pipestone, Minnesota. We're still at the Pipestone Park. There was a pageant there that we saw, the Hiawatha. Song of Hiawatha was real nice. This was the pageant, the setting for it, outdoors around the lake. Here we stopped at Egan. This was the parsonage where I went to high school from. That's the church. Looking down Main Street from the front of the parsonage to the school there ahead at Egan. Ground in Nebraska on the way down to Oklahoma. Waukita, Oklahoma. There's the health center. Don was the director. Don's house around Waukita. Get the Salt Lake, Lake of Salt, whatever it was. It was windy. This is not water, this is salt. '72. It says E-Town, but I don't know where it is. This is on the way home campground there. Town. Judy started school there. Of '72. Christmas '72. This is Easter of '73. Next ones are all a visit to Hopewell Village. This is an old furnace. Spring of 1973. Still in Hopewell Village. Well, now the band is on its way to Florida. Sharon is going with them. Sharon's graduation, '72, from Garnet Valley. Following are pictures of our 25th anniversary the kids put on for us there at Elam. This is Steve's wedding. They all came there because Sue lived near Westchester. No, Sue lived up near Philadelphia. This was the rehearsal dinner that we put on at the church there. The women did it. mother of the groom. Getting ready to leave, I guess. Our board retreat up at Hilltop. A couple of pictures. Gail Forward's wedding. Sharon was the maid of honor. Getting ready to go to Wakita. I don't know what for, maybe just to visit. This is the flood in Nebraska that we ran into, and we had to turn around and go back a few miles in order to get around it. But we finally got around it. It was Beatrice, Nebraska. The reason we went down there is because Mother was still there and recognized us pretty good. I guess that was about the first year that she went down there. 1973. Kentucky, this is the land between the lakes. Big TVA lakes there on Kentucky and Tennessee rivers. Good place to camp. Might try to go there again sometime. Pictures have been at Cumberland Falls on our way to Union College. I guess we were down there at least once a year for the 4 years that Sharon was there. I think that's the dormitory. As a kitten. This was in the winter of 73, 74. This time and Marilyn's birthday or something. Must have had a party or something, a couple of her girlfriends there from Coatesville. Granddaddy home from India. Christmas of 73. Marilyn's birthday. Christmas dinner. 73. '73. I just took pictures. I didn't know how to get good ones. Easter of 74. This was the first year we were in the new parsonage. Judy's graduation at E-Town. Lynn McMichael. Arkansas reunion, Arkansas and Oklahoma. Helen and Wayne including some lugs. Here's ours. These aren't very good pictures that I took. Guess that wasn't an awfully big reunion. The kids worked on the farms there with these big tractors. Mother didn't go over to Arkansas, but we all came there to Don's place. Mother enjoyed things, although she was unable to carry on a conversation really. This is where we're camping on the way home. Back in New York again. Echo Hills. Looks like Uncle Ralph was there. I guess that's some of Ralph's kids. I think Ralph Jr. is there. That's Ralph Jr.'s wife, I think, right in front of Uncle Art. Must be Uncle Tom. I'm Ralph and Art. We're all there. Picking blueberries. And that we got cricket. Granddaddy's special pal when Granddaddy wasn't so good. So 74. Looks like taffy and cricket or something like that. And the girls, this must have been winter or spring of 75. Real sunflower. I think this is out beside the new parsonage of Elam. After this man, Bill Hendricks flew a helicopter into the backyard of the church. This is at Shenandoah National Park. It was in the late winter, early spring, and there were lots of deer around. The Newmarket battlefield. This is August in 1975. In front of a toy museum, I think, in Philadelphia. Back at the house, some lilies that we just stuck out after Easter. Gettysburg, 75. Witzelsman's at Caledonia Park. This was the year we bought the land up there. Our Adams County property, the old barn across the road when we bought the property. Actually, we bought it in 74, but this was in 75 because we had built a little zigzag fence there. It was up in Adams County, the Parkers, along with Eloise. This is a better picture. Concord Bicentennial. This is taken in the costumes the women made for that year. Christmas of 75. Granddaddy was living with us. Looks like a cat fight. Parsonage, the new parsonage there at Elam from the back with fruit trees and Maryland's herb garden there. There's apples on that tree. Twenty slides are all about our house and the progress of it. This was the where we built the house. We cleared it here. Trailer while we were doing the work. That was Frank Parker, our neighbor, who did a lot of cutting. Hey, this is the round barn up in Adams County. Spring of 76, and we're at Union College for Sharon's graduation. Sharon stayed her last year. The beginning of the 1976 reunion at Elam. A beautiful week all week, and we ate outdoors every day. Went for a picnic over at Valley Forge. Vivi and Tim weren't married yet. Vivi came along with the family. All the third generation that were there. This is the second generation. Mother was still living at this time, but she wasn't much aware of anything. She was still in Oklahoma. This is the whole crowd. Of 77. Lots of cats around, seems like. I think that was cricket. Some winter video of 77. Be the winter of 88. 88, it's not 88, it's 78. Something going on at the church. I think that, yeah, this was our arts festival that Marilyn directed. Clem was some of his paintings. He was a good... Sharon had some puppets. Some of the girls helping her, and boys. Angie came to visit. This was the summer of 78. Somebody's birthday around fall of 78. This is Christmas 78. Beginning of our 78 reunion in Kentucky. Wasn't very many there that year. More pictures of Sky Bridge, or Natural Bridge, I don't know which. The In-Laws, 78. The Outlaws. The Obergs. There's the whole crowd. Sharon at her front of her apartment at Owensboro. She got the job there, 1979. And a few pictures of Scarrett College in Nashville. Marilyn's place in Franklin, Kentucky. She had the job there. Of 1980. Back where we've got some apple blossoms. They're listed as 1980, but it was 79 I started the beard. Well, getting ready for Judy's wedding. We had a little picnic up at the Brandywine Park. Rehearsal. Picnic in 1980. Our reunion trip to Minnesota, 1980. Harrison and Martina Halstead. This was on the way. This looks like Minnesota. This was at Wayne's on Lake Minnetonka. Prayed there. I don't know if we can see it too well, or rather underexposed. This is the whole crowd. Thought we saw this before. Upper Michigan. This is Paul Kalma. Nancy, cousin Nancy's boy. Paul and Nancy, this was on the way home from the reunion. Uncle Walter in Laurel, Michigan. Aunt Margaret. like Aunt Winifred. This is Christmas time, 1980. Alan and Judy were there to visit us. Looks like X was around too. Winter of 80-81. Is up at Uncle Art's place at New City. Art and Jesse were both pretty senile at that point. With the pink azaleas. 81. This was an Indian mound in Georgia on our way down to Florida to see Uncle Ralph, and then across the southern border of the U.S. to California and back. Pictures at the Stephen Foster Memorial down at the Swanee River in Florida. Stephen Foster was never in Florida. I think that's I Dream of Jeannie. Down to Uncle Ralph's condominium. Some grapefruit on his tree in the house he used to live in. At the Circus Museum. Onion tree there. Are the white sands on the Gulf. This was at Pensacola, Florida. Gun emplacements out at the end. They put them there, I think, during World War I. Never used them. In the old section of New Orleans. This was near the river. On the old paddle wheeler, steam-powered one, Calliope, which was horribly loud. The Alamo. Off across Texas. Came into El Paso, and now we're in Juarez, just across the river from El Paso. One of the shops there. Ketton and Marley's house in El Paso. Now we're in New Mexico. Dog Town. Supposed to be a bird there underneath the bushes. Now this is in California. This is Arrowhead Springs, headquarters of Campus Crusade. Judy and Alan's house. Alan and Darlene and Bart and Dot came over while we were there. Dot picked us a lemon. We're traveling back across Arizona, New Mexico, the northern part. Walked down seems like a million steps, a cave dweller's place. Be the petrified forest. There was some animals out there, looks like a deer or something. Painted desert in the distance, I think. Waukita, Oklahoma. Des Moines, Iowa, in front of the bishop's house. We stopped there for overnight. Up in Hickory Run Park, Sharon was with us. We went up to visit the pastor parish committee at Readers. We had been appointed there. Had a chance to talk with them. On our way to the reunion for 1982. Judy met us at Uncle Walter's and went with us over to Minnesota. Ferry across the lake, a long ride across the middle of Lake Michigan to get from Michigan to Wisconsin. Camp where we had the reunion, the kitchen. This is the Merrill Graves family. The Obergs. Climbers. On the way home, this is the northern shore of Lake Michigan. Greenfield Village. We didn't have much time, but we stopped there. A new hat Eloise made. This first car. To visit us, Readers. This is on top of Big Pocono. Bryce and I went for a little trip down to the Country Inn at Barkley Springs. Trip to California to see Eric. From the airplane, this was November of 1983. Chicago, where we changed places, planes. Airport in California. Arriving. We first saw of Eric. He was a month old or so. Judy and Alan's house and Redlands. Scenes around Redlands. Having dinner over at Eric's grandmother's. Winter at Readers. Judy and Alan, Eric came here that year in wintertime. Of course, Eric's a little too young to enjoy the snow. One's taken inside. I don't know what that other one came from. Pictures that Judy sent. I don't know exactly what they are. '84 reunion at Readers. There weren't very many there that year. Alpine Slide. Made this train, this circus train for Eric. Christmas. Christmas of '84. Marilyn's apartment in Greenville. In '85, and we're out in California again. We all took Eric to Disneyland. This is in their backyard at Redlands. May and Viola be up at Ortana. 5 when the year we retired. This was visiting the park, the Gettysburg Park. Some of our apples. This is back at Redlands again. That was Judy, Sharon's place. This is Ruth Bishop at Ortana. We went to a park for picnic lunch at Greenville. Christmas 1985. This is the church where Marilyn and Will were married. This is their house. First house. Will had the house and had lived in there a little while. Back in Redlands, California again for Danny's birth. Judy had a home delivery, had some problems, but everything ended up all right. Bart and Dot came over. Program for Alan and Marion Sloat. This is your life type of thing at the church there in Ortana. Easels. This is at their place. Spartanburg, out to see we're at Carl Sandburg's house. Went out to visit it just outside of Spartanburg. She came to visit us at Ortana of 86. Came to visit us at Ortana. This is at the beginning of our 1986 reunion. This is Helen Wayne's place. We stopped there. Marilyn and Will flew out to Minneapolis, and then we took them with us to the Black Hills of South Dakota. A couple of spins in Wayne's boat on Lake Minnetonka. One palace at Mitchell on the way across South Dakota. I guess this is supposed to be the Badlands. Wall Drug Store. We're out in where we stayed for our reunion. The four families of our generation stayed in. Others stayed in the campground or in other cabins. Came to visit for a day or so, stayed in the lodge. Ellen Wayne and two of their grandchildren. The family. Don Graves' family. Whole crowd. On our way home, this is the Missouri River big dam that has been put since I lived out there. Kaiser's visited us in Ortana. And Will spent a lot of time killing gypsy moths. Now we're up at Echo Hills again, in the Catskills. Looks like fall. Union over at York. Everybody was there, I guess, of the monastery hall, except one of them. These are all the ones that went to Biblical. Proud where we went to church that day. Norma and Westy came, stopped to see our new home, stopped to see us on the way home. Looks like Sharon's apartment down in Greenville, is it? Of our 1987 trip to California. Stopped at Spartanburg on our way. And Greenville. In Waukeeta, Oklahoma. Back in Redlands in the spring, just before Easter. Back home now, this is 29 Palms. In the desert. Into the snow-capped mountains. In one of our camps, Alaska. We were there for Easter, the Easter egg hunt with Tally and her family. I wasn't feeling well at all. Our 40th anniversary open house at Ortana. We invited the neighbors and church people. This is Sharon's Aikido class. Her instructor. Office at the church. Ella visited us at Ortana. Came by. They visited us a couple times there, I think this is 1987. This is in Redlands. This is Ortana. In 1987, Helma Wayne came to visit. It was the beginning of our trip up in New England. We stopped first of all at Alex and Jeanette's. Jeanette showed us around to the various mansions in the area. Marcus's house. I think we stayed there for a couple days. Maine, I think this is a little display they had at the big store up there, the outdoor store. Bean is the name of it. Or also Westy and Norma house. Nice, real nice house up in Maine. Actually stopped at Echo Hills again. See May. Hannah again. Because he had quite a cold. He couldn't come out. Remember, but we had quite a snow. Keeping the boys busy down cellar. Looks like everybody was there. Actually 1987, but this one was taken 1985 from out of our bedroom window there at Ortana. Ice on it. Some of these ice storms, at least once a year. Strawberries that we had some nice strawberries there. Deck, we finished it. Later we just took that railing down, it was in the way. Cathedral in Washington, we Took a trip down to hear David Arcus play a recital on their big organ there. There's at Ortana again, 1989. The big Domini apple tree down in the woods. Blackberries. Trees that Sharon started from seed. Up north, this is the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania. The Schusters and Readers and excuse me, the Cyphers. Harry and Betty were there for dinner that night. Beals also. They were always so nice. In Maryland's house. Here in Greenville, another family reunion. We got together several times there. Will out in front of their house. Sharon invited us for a picnic down at the Greenville Zoo. These are all the animals at the zoo. Back at Spartanburg. A new trailer. Blue Ridge. We made 2 trips down this way that year because we had a little accident with the trailer. Okay, Hannah again. 9 at Ortana. I think we have pictures of this for most every year. 1990, Don and Bonnie came to visit us at Spartanburg. This is April 1990. This is the beginning of our trip to Florida that year. We went down to look for a place to visit, look for a place to stay maybe. This was the Corps of Engineers in southern South Carolina. We spent a day at Disney World. An Arab building. This was Epcot Center in Disney World. One of the campsites there. See, I don't know. I think maybe this was down in the swamp, Everglades. We saw lots of alligators. Of course, the swamp was partly dried up, so the alligators had migrated to all the ponds where the fish were. Looking out on the Gulf of Mexico. These were some scenes along the Keys. I'm not sure if that was the Gulf or the Atlantic. Stopped at the Kennedy Space Center. Very interesting. In Spartanburg again, where we got these dust mops running around. These are the quilts that Eloise made. Took her several years at the cathedral quilt. The grandsons, this is one with horses on it. Our columbine that we grew out in the garden. Trip to the reunion at Huntington Lake in California. Across the country and back. His farm where we camped about 30 years ago when they first started it up in Indiana. Scenes across the country and campsites. This was the gorge and Green River out in Idaho. Scenes out in near Salt Lake City. Just way in back, you can't see it, was the race track, the campground, California. Place in Dinuba, some puppies that he was selling. Picking apricots or peaches or something for drying for the Mennonite Central Committee. Apricots, we split them and spread them out for drying. Now we're up at Huntington Lake. We're way up on top, and right behind Eric is a steep drop. There's a crowd that took a hike up along the lake. Jigsaw puzzle that Sharon brought along. No, that was a crossword puzzle. Campfire. Waiting for the fish pond. The hatchery. The power station there below the dam. Rock out in front of the dining room. That's where we parked, in front of the building where Alan Wayne and Prudence and Mugg stayed. We're working on the jigsaw puzzle. Overlooking a steep ravine. We were getting ready to take pictures. It's the whole crowd. Fourth generation. Cousins and second cousins. Third generation. Parents of all the kids in the other one. This is the Don Graves family, larger family. There's the Climbers. The Obergs. The Merrill Graves. Besides sailing and canoeing and boating, they had a pontoon boat you could rent, and us older generation went around the lake in it. The waterfront with the swimming as well as boating and sailing. From the pontoon boat, Wayne is driving. Puppet show. The girls that were helping just followed Sharon all over the place. I think this was probably a part of our talent night. Now we're on our way up to Seattle. There's a picture of the ocean. It's Seattle. I think we took it from the World's Fair tower, whatever they called it. Mrs. Holden, she took us around. Joyce wasn't feeling so well, so I don't know how good a guests we were. That's in front of Hulda's house. Archie wasn't there. Back to Spartanburg here. Back from the trip, we started in up at Amberson. This is the inside of the sanctuary. Church, where we are, is right down on the road. Parking was there on the right. Well, now we're back to Spartanburg again. To Ortana. Bill and Winifred stopped in to see us on their way home from Evalu's funeral in New England. They were going back to California. Christmas of '90. Will and Marilyn were up. They were up several times during Christmas when we lived there. They brought their floor mop with them. January '91, looks like we were in the middle of a snowstorm. Sharon's trees, and the tree on the left was Eloise's money tree they gave us on our 25th wedding anniversary. Some cardinals on the snow there, but it's hard to see them. Tampa Bay, we took a trip down to Florida. That's where we were. To the bridge. And we stopped at Waxhaw to see Ruthie Bishop. It's a Hershey reunion there at Ortana. All of the living children of Harry, except Elizabeth, were there. Mrs. Clifford, I hadn't seen Clifford for years. Nice that they could come up. Kathleen and Helen, Clifford. Don came over, and of course Bart was there. Clifford and his wife, ready to go. Don and Bonnie, they all came up together. Don and Bonnie were visiting Steve at this point. Person chancel at Easter time in 1991. Bill's flowers at Ortana. This is just shortly before we moved, or we got ready to move. This was in the spring. We moved in the fall. Helen and Lil came up to see us from down Elam Way. Harry and Betty, they were up there several times. We did have some pretty flowers there. Really know how these things would grow, these lupines. I just like the look it's in the catalog, and they sure were bright. No flowers the first year. They're a biennial plant. A slide of the biblical reunion. We have other pictures on the videotape. of this reunion. At Lidditz. Church was at Wall and Quinn. This is the Quinn Church, a little church out on the western prairie of South Dakota. Parsonage, I stayed there for about a month. Lived alone. Didn't have to do much cooking. Everybody invited me out. At Gayville, when I was a student at the university. That's the parsonage on the left. I didn't live in that, but I did paint it. This is the church at the Vollen United Methodist Church. Right over there on the motorcycle. He's at Geigertown. This was our first parish after we got married. Harmony Church. Paul's Church. Yeah, this was in Berks County. St. Paul's Church, the other side. Funny again, isn't it? Mm-hmm. We went to Honeybrook Methodist Church. Which goes back to the year 1780, although we weren't there then. After we left, they sold this and got a new one closer to the church. This was in Bryn Mawr, at their church. Oh, a small church, beautiful stained glass windows. The kids were all young when we went there, and they enjoyed that, so did we. We stayed there 9 years. That was the old Sunday school building, which they tore down shortly and built a new one while we were there. At Thorndale. Died before they built the new addition. Had the new social hall, Christmas program or something. Has Christmas decorations anyway. New addition there to the right, Sunday school and social hall. After they put the new addition on, they extended the end and built a new chancel area. Bunch of kids. Was this the junior choir?
I think
these are all boys program there. Side of the sanctuary at Christmas time. A beautiful sanctuary. I think this was another parsonage at Thorndale. How come we got back here all of a sudden? Well, again, no, this is Ben Salem. This was at Easter, Ben Salem. Parsonage at Ben Salem, just a little building tacked on to the edge there because they had to have one. The old chapel, which goes way back, and then the parsonage. Yeah, parsonage and Wesley Hall, and then the new sanctuary. Old chapel. It was really old. Those pews were very uncomfortable.
Preached there.
There's the old chapel in the winter. Francis Asbury preached at Ben Salem. That church wasn't built. That wasn't built until later, but he preached it. The picture, but that shows from the parking lot, the new sanctuary. For Christmas, along the edge of the sanctuary. It's picked at various times during the year from the balcony. Methodist Church. This was the old sign in front of the church. Right there at Elam. Right at Elam. They just built it just before we came there. They built it, and while I were there, they paid for it. Different times of the year. Sanctuary at Elam. I mean, it's front, but it's the side of the sanctuary. Chapel, the old chapel, and the old greenstone that was covered by stucco later on. Serpentine. Snitch. Right on the highway, about a block down from the church.
Lived there for.
They've been saying they're going to build a new one for years. This was from out by the highway. Castor beans interspersed with girls. Garden out the back of the yard. See how high that is? Must be at least 12 feet high. hard to see, but that's a little dog called Lucy. New parsonage, about 4 years in the old one, and this was the new parsonage just down from the church. And it was real nice. We moved into it brand new. It was up in the Poconos. To the parsonage, the back door. We always used that to go over to church, because the church was over to the right of the parsonage. View of the front of the parsonage. Summer all of a sudden. From across the road, Highway 715, church was right on the highway. Now the parsonage. Looking up the hill from back of the parsonage. This is the field where we had our summer services, outdoor services. Church van. Our last church that I preached at, this is the Amberson Church. They put a welcome there for us, yeah. This was the inside of the sanctuary. We enjoyed it the year we were there. It was real nice. We're in California. California. Getting off the plane at Ontario Airport. The first time. All babies have their charm, but they're not all beautiful at all times. It's Judy and Alan's house in California. Sure. Alan's grandmother's place for Thanksgiving, I think it was. The next winter they came to, next spring, to Readers. We had some snow. Eric had seen snow. Big Pocono. This is the Readers Reunion, 1984. Coming down the Alpine Slide. There weren't very many there this year. Present I made for the boys. It's Christmas of '84. So this is Marilyn's apartment. And again, we went to Disney World. Disneyland it was. '85. May and Viola at the Gettysburg National Monument, the battlefield. Here's Eric again. Here's at Ortana this time. This is at Sharon's place. Ruth Bishop at Ortana. Greenville. Again, Eric was interested in the ducks. A picnic at the Greenville Zoo. No, this wasn't some park there. '85, this was Marilyn Church when Marilyn and Will were married. First house, Will's house, they moved in there. Once again, when Danny was born, 1986, May of 1986. Bart and Dot came over for a visit back in Ortana. We had a celebration for Marion and Alan. Dot and Bart. Like we're back in Spartanburg again. This is the visit we made to the Carl Sandburg house. Be at Ortana. Ortana. Marilyn and Will were there too. Kniezels at Ortana. This is Helen and Wayne's house at Wayzata. This was the beginning of our '86 reunion in Minnesota. Oh, this wasn't our reunion in Minnesota. This was at Helen and Wayne's on our way to South Dakota. Big boat ride in Minnetonka. Wayne has a nice boat there. Badlands. The Wall drugstore in the Badlands for our reunion, in the Black Hills. We stayed. Some of them stayed in other cabins, some of them in the campground. Here's a bunch of the older generation. Bart and Dot were there. The older generation, their grandchildren, Rufus and Lugs and their family that was there. Connie's family is in front of Sylvan Lake. It was the whole crowd that was there. This is on the Missouri River, one of the big dams, probably there at Yankton. And Helen. '86. A reunion over at York. This is Sharon's apartment in Anderson. Adams County again. Spartanburg. Or Greenville, I guess. We're on our way to California now, our trip to California. And we won't be able to show it all on this tapes because it's coming to the end, so we'll just have to get another tape. Donella and her baby. Heading west from Oklahoma, place we camped. In California again. We got there about, this was in November. Spring in March, just before Easter. Hey, what you doing? Nebraska now with Tally. I was sick all the way home, so I didn't feel so hot. This is the beginning and the end of the tape, but this is the beginning of our 40th wedding anniversary open house. Aaron's Aikido. That's her instructor. May and Viola came to visit us at Ortana. Don and Bonnie.